A 10 hot YouTube. It's your boy, Major Spectre here, back to bring you another video. And we just wrapped up the EPC draft day 1. With us are some of the analysts of the league. Please say hi.
Hello.
So yeah, I don't know. Drake is also here, but he's not talking. Oh, he got moved down on accident. Lol. Hello, welcome back, Drake. You got moved down.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
It's alright. You guys saw that. Don't worry about it. Bad YouTuber. But anyways, so what we're basically going to be doing is running down through the teams so far. So first, we have yours truly, of the Los Angeles Scissors. Round 1, pick 1, overall pick number 1, was Magirna. Of course. No, it's pretty much what happens in every single league. So the next two picks were Volcanion and Hydreigon. The next picks were Dhelmise and Mega Pinsir. And the final pick was Gardevoir. So, gentlemen, please elaborate on the team and what you think.
I like Volcanion. Overall, it's just like if you run setup, it doesn't need to win setup because it's so hot boost. It gets after killing. It can have Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Dazzling Gleam. It can have Flash Cannon. It has Aura Spirit to deal with anything else.
It gets many setup options as well. You can run physical if you want to, shift gear to boost that speed, calm mind. It's very powerful, and that's the reason it's banned in many leagues. Overall, it's pretty bulky overall. Like Hydreigon has some natural bulk, Volcanion does as well, and Magirna obviously does with 115 in both. Landorus, you see it running Rocky Helmet all the time, plus it gets you Intimidate, so that's really solid. Dhelmise does have some natural bulk. My one little complaint about it is that it's a little bit slow, on the slower side of some of the drafts today, because the fastest is Mega Pinsir, and then after that there's nothing above 100, with Hydreigon coming closest with 99. I mean, of course, Magirna can shift gear, and then that's not a big issue for Magirna, but
not to mention that Magirna does also get Trick Room.
Yes. So it can Trick Room, and Gardevoir does get Trick Room as well. So you do have that in your back pocket for usage. Lando T obviously you see it on almost every single OU team laddering, so you know it's coming. Powerful Earthquakes. It's a hard Pokemon to switch into.
I like how you have your Strike Box and your Rapid Spinner with his Dhelmise. I like Dhelmise's ability though. It could be one of the best abilities what Gen 7 just brought up, because you basically have a throw type.
Yeah, basically three stabs. On top of that, can we just talk about Dhelmise in Trick Room? Dhelmise in Trick Room, everything is dead.
Yeah.
Basically, that's how that would go down.
Alright, so next, let's go into someone who unfortunately had to wait a little bit to draft his picks in Salamaster, the Detroit Cobalions. He ended up picking up Primarina first, Registeel first, Primarina second, I believe Megazard Y third, Staraptor, then Superior, then Fortress. Staraptor and Superior might be switched, but I know Fortress was his last pick for sure.
And it's Zard X, just for clarification, just to tell the viewers.
Yeah, well, they can see the document on their screen, but yeah.
Oh, okay. And then, let's see.
Anything about this team?
Back like tanky. It's somewhat
Yeah,
tanky from most of the things. I like Registeel on this team just because it has stealth walks. It can get Thunder
yeah,
Wave. It can
and
toxic. Go ahead.
Fort- Fortress is one of the best rapid spinners. So hazards, it's good that he has that to protect Charizard, along with Mew getting defog. So his hazard removal is already done, you could say, unless he wants to pick something up just to make.
And also Staraptor does as well get access to defog.
Yes, that's true, but I doubt he'll be running it. But yeah, and then Staraptor, I just think it's one of the best wall breakers in the game because it's just if you run like Choice Banded, Adamant, Brave Bird, 2-hit KOs, a Heatran, which I thought was just absolutely insane because I used it in League once, and I think it was probably more of an offensive Heatran, but that it was a resisted hit, but it's still 2-hit KO'd was crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. The Staraptor is nothing to sleep on. I have him in the PBA, and I'm super excited to use him. Next, we are going to move on Xavier with the Oakland Resurrects. His first pick was, I believe, Cloyster. Yes, his first pick was Cloyster, which a lower tier pick getting picked first. Very interesting. Cloyster, Scolipede, Mega Charizard, Excadrill. No, sorry. Scolipede, Excadrill, Mega Charizard, Alolan Ninetales, and Kecleon rounded out his picks. Got a little bit of fire and ice. What do you guys want to say about this?
I mean, I like Scolipede and Alolan Ninetales because you basically stop it because you put your Aurora Veil. You stop really heavy hitters. Scolipede can just come in, protect for Storm, gets that speed boost, and most likely will outspeed any other mon unless you score.
Or Trick Room.
Yeah, there you go.
And then he does have double spinners in Excadrill and Cloyster, even though Cloyster, I haven't seen it run it too often, but it does get it to protect the Zardwai, which, speaking of, I think everyone can tell, it's a little weird because it has three different potential weathers. With if he picks up the Sand Setter, then he'll have 3 different weathers in one team.
I don't think he has to pick up the sand. I think he can be free to just bring the Excadrill against something you'll see later. There is definitely a sand team.
Yeah. I like how he picks up Coastal just because it can get Soul Link. It can also get Shell Smash and just hit really hard with anything.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
The question is, Bikakion. Bikakion is like the questionable for me. It's like the ninja, but it's like I kind of want to see what he does for this. I really want to see what he does.
In personal experience, Kecleon is actually a very hard Pokemon to play around. It's not a high tier for a reason, but it is definitely very hard to play around, and you have to basically predict everything that he's going to do. It's not too difficult if you really, really think hard, but Kecleon is there and it is a threat. So next, we have Dalton of the Buffalo Bastiodons. His first pick was Toxapex, surprisingly or unsurprisingly. His second pick was then Mega Altaria. Then he picked up Gengar and Metagross and rounded out the draft with Cresselia and Araquanid. Thoughts on Dalton's team?
I like Infinite. I like it just for that. It could be anything basically, and so can Altaria. I think that's going to be one. Both of them is going to be the mostly used mon. That's what I think. Just because Infinite can run physical, special, it can run taunt, it can run stealth rocks, it can be your Z move basically. Altaria just gets a somewhat large movement. for everything. I like Toxapex just for that bulk. Also,
Yeah.
Oh, and he does have a couple. He has an immunity in Cresselia for the earthquake, since he does have 4 ground weaknesses, and Altaria can switch in once before it has to Mega. And Araquanid does resist it, but I don't think Araquanid's defense stat is too high. So
Araquanid actually is deceptively also physically bulky. I do believe it's like 114 or something.
Is it really? I thought
Yes.
it was just special defense.
No, its special defense is sky high and its defense is pretty high. I don't.
Okay, it's 92. So, I mean, it's still actually pretty good, so I stand corrected.
Yeah, Araquanid, I know he's got a lot of fire resistances, but Araquanid does give a very large fire resistance when it comes to that Metagross.
Yeah.
I could see Araquanid as this set, but this is my own personal set. If I would run it just be a stem, I would run something he made. I can't remember what move it was. It was something like sticky something to make them trap, soak them if they're opposing, then toxic them, and just have rest and just stall them out. Basically, that's what I've done before. And
I mean, his team does seem like one of those that could possibly be a stall team. There aren't very many of those, but this is one of the teams that could potentially be a stall team already.
Yeah.
So next we're going to go on to you, Andrew, of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Please tell us your order, because I don't want to get your order wrong.
Okay, I picked up Tapu Koko first round, Tornadus second, Terrakion third, and then Shaman fourth, and Savali fifth, and then I got Mega Blastoise the last round. So basically, how you see it, it's how I drafted it.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just didn't want to get it wrong. It is something to note that you picking up that Savali gives you access to all Silvally types.
Yes.
It's kind of going to be a colossal prep for that, but I think so. I like how you have Tornadus Terran, just because it's one of my favorite genies out of them all, just because it can do it can do a lot of things. Tapu Koko, of course, it can run physical or special. It can have Z mirror move. Can be tricky to deal around. I like Shaman also. It's just a well balanced mon. Mega Blastoise, that's kind of scary. That's a really scary mon. It depends on who you run it to. That's like one of the scary megas I can see.
Yeah. So, I think this might be. I know Jordan's team isn't very easy to prep for, but I think Andrew, with that Silvally, you just edge out the Mew by being harder to prep. Unfortunately, Silvally does have pretty bad stats, hence the reason it's so low, but it's still going to be hard to prep for nonetheless. So, next we have Lucas of the Scrubbo Squiddos, and he drafts, I don't remember the order, but I'm just going to follow. I think Mega Gar was third, but that's besides the point. So he drafted Tapu Bulu, Keldeo, Scizor, Chandelure, Galvantula, and Mega Garchomp. Like I said, this is the quote-unquote sand team.
Yes. Let's see. Tapu Bulu obviously hits super hard.
I like how he has Sizzle and Shadowball, like you point out earlier today, with Flash File and other things for it. That's a really good switch in, just because it can basically take the hit and power it up a little bit and fire back. I like how he has Sand, but there's also could be a Pokemon that has Cloud9 and just interfere with that sand, and especially stop the tracks.
Yeah, but it's definitely something to keep in mind, and definitely something that I think I might do in the future. Hush, hush, don't say anything.
Yeah, and then he does have the sticky web, so even though Mega Garchomp is slower than normal Garchomp, the sticky webs might be able to help that out along with the sand. So the sand, I think it gets, what's its ability?
Sand
Mega
Force?
Yeah, Sand Force, which could be helpful with their powered up ground moves. Let's see.
Yeah, it just hits hard.
Yeah.
Just his team. There's no better way to describe it. It just hits hard. The one thing to note is that the Galvantula could be useless in someone who is planning Trick Room, to bring Trick Room, because if he sets up that sticky web, Trick Room is only gonna get better from there.
Yeah. And he, as of right now, I think Scizor's Defog is his only removal. So I think it would be nice for him to get a Rapid Spinner so he can keep the webs up, if possible.
Yeah,
because Galvantula is normally a lead.
So maybe a Blastoise, because Blastoise is RU. Maybe a Hitmontop or a Defogger and like Golbat or something.
Yeah,
just something that helps him out overall.
Yeah, but I mean his team isn't really weak to rocks. The only things that really don't like rocks are the Chandelure and the Galvantula. So,
yeah.
Next we have Leo of the Chicago Infernates. He decided to finish off all the Tapus and draft Tapu Lele. He drafted Heatran, Latias, Cobalion, Jolteon, and Mega Metacam. Thoughts on Leo's team?
Ooh. I like how. Go ahead. I like how he has Tapu Lele just to prevent all the quality moves. Let's just say he was mostly something that had Bullet Punch. It just prevents them from doing that. I really enjoy Heatran with his call, just to guarantee you outspeed everything, and plus it hits like a truck in his special attack. Latios is default, obviously. Latias, sorry, it's default. Cobalion is probably the stuff rocks. Jolteon just to catch all the electric moves. Mega Mancham is just the one that I have a lot of questions about. Versatile with the elemental punches, gets fake out, gets other moves that can help it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. There could be some conflict if Lele's terrain is up and Mega Metacham wants to use some of its priority, but he probably won't run into that too often. Another thing to note is that he doesn't have any ghost resistance as of right now, and he has 3 that are weak to ghost. So that could be something that he wants to patch up going into day 2.
I think something that might work for him would be something like, I don't know what that someone's phone just went off. But I think
that was mine. Sorry.
You're fine. I think something that might go well for him is getting a Scrappy user, maybe a Miltank, maybe Stoutland, something like that, which would really just kind of nullify that. Like you said, he does have 3 psychic types, which is the most of any duplicate typing in this draft. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and just getting a normal type in general. Is Porygon 2 drafted yet?
No, it is not.
Sure if it is. But that would go well with his team because he has that knockoff switch in with Cobalion, and that would give him a ghost immunity. So
yeah. That's
and then Melodic's just one of the best ever.
Yeah, Milotic is another one of those water types that just doesn't die.
It just sits there,
It
laughing at you.
It just sits there, recover and like freeze toxic stalling. Ugh.
Oh, you want to set up? Oh,
No.
I'll just Dragon Tail you out. Game over.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have Johnny of the Banbury Buzzwolves. He drafted Zapdos, Lucario, aka Lucario, Mamosline, Reuniclus, Vaporeon, and Mega Scizor. Thoughts on this team?
He does have Vaporeon for that fire resist, but besides that, it hits 3 super effective Mamos. Kind of will usually
No,
run
yeah, usually around thick fat, but if he's not,
But if he's not, then it's 4. But Lucario, Scizor, and Jirachi are they'll just die to 1.
Yeah. And certain fire types don't even care about thick fat.
Yeah. Chandelure.
Or Volcanion.
Yeah.
Both of those, yeah.
Volcanion can just predict the swap and go for Steam Eruption or Scald, and then you're gone.
I could see Trick Room being run on this team because he does have Reuniclus and Jirachi both set up Trick Room. And Mamo is, I think it's around 80 base speed, so it's not super fast, but not super slow, but it could benefit from it. Scizor would benefit from it. I mean, he could use Trick Room pretty effectively.
Yes, but before you jump in, Drake, I just want to say that something about that psychic terrain that you could do, especially as a Scizor, as we were talking earlier, you could set up, you could predict the swap, and you could run Metal Claw instead of Bullet Punch, and that would basically do more because it's 10 more. I think all in all, it would be 15 more base power. And it would have a chance to boost your attack. Plus, it wouldn't get stopped by that psychic terrain.
Actually, I haven't thought of that, but yeah, that's a really good idea.
I like it.
But, Drake, if you want to elaborate any more.
Not too much. Like, you already point out all the things I was going to say. Man Claw sounds like a great idea to predict it and everything.
If I had...
And plus that take mixture.
Yeah. If I had... Like I said, it's 10 but 15 with Technician. If I had a Scizor or Mega Scizor, I would definitely consider doing that. I know it would be semi-harmful, but in the end, Mega Scizor, for the most part, doesn't really bullet punch anything that it... most of the things it's gonna bullet punch, it's faster than, for the most part.
Yeah.
So, next we have Gaksar of the Minnesota Virizions, and he ended up scooping up Manaphy, and with a trade to a later coach, ended up getting Garchomp. And then he's got Arcanine, Conkeldurr, Comfey, and Mega Alakazam. What do you think of this team?
Is he gone?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. It's just a pretty solid team in general.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like a grass type yet, but like there's still 5 rounds left, so that's not gonna be an issue really.
And it's not like there are any grass types in the lower tiers that are bad.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all grass types that are in the lower tiers. I know he doesn't have a sun team, but a lot of them have chlorophyll. So if he can put up Sunny Day with that Arcanine and get chlorophyll on a grass type like a Leafeon or something, watch out.
Yeah.
Drake, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh.
I hear you. You're just kind of robot-y.
Mm-hmm.
We're having technical issues, ladies and gentlemen. This is in podcast format, so nothing is perfect.
He has some really hard special hitters because Mana P obviously can get that tail glow up and just start sweeping, especially if it gets a Z Rain Dance. Thunder Syrian outspeeds all those base 100s, and with that 145 special attack, it just hits so hard. And then Mega Alakazam with its Trace, it could actually be very, very like an exciting thing to see, to do, because I've seen it trace Greninja's Protean and then just sweep, and that was really cool to see. He does have that fire immunity in Arcanine, and Arcanine just gets good abilities
and coverage, and not to mention it can be either physical or special.
Speaking of good abilities, Conkeldurr gets 3 amazing abilities. Guts, Flame Orb, Sheer Force, Iron Fist, whatever you want to do, it'll run it effectively. And it gets coverage too, Poison Jab, Ice Punch, Drain Punch.
Mach Punch for
Stone
priority.
Edge. Yeah, Mach Punch priority. And then Mega Zam's outspeeding with 150.
Yeah, this team isn't as prone to Trick Room, but if someone does set up a Trick Room, depending on what's left, Conkeldurr could just sweep from there.
Yeah.
It's bulky enough, it hits crazy hard. So it's definitely something to account for. Drake, I know that you're having issues here. He dropped down. I apologize, guys, once again. Not perfect podcast format. Drake, are you here? Hello? Okay, well, Drake, you might need to disconnect and reconnect. So yeah. But anyways, let's keep this podcast format video going. Next we have not Sneaky Sky of the New York Red Bouffalants, and he ended up picking Tangrowth, Alomomola, Mienshao, Goodra, Heliolisk, and Mega Aggron. What do you think of this team, Andrew?
He obviously has a Regenerator core with Tangrowth, Alomomola, and Mienshao. So that was I think those were his top 3 picks, I want to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got that. He made sure he got that one. It's pretty bulky. It's really bulky, because Goodra with a ridiculous special defense will just tank those hits, especially with an Assault Vest for days. And Mega Aggron, it's not going to take, even if it's super effective, its defense is so high. And with Filter, it doesn't really even matter. And then Goodra can switch into any special hits to tank, so that was good on his part. Alomomola can wish past to Goodra to make sure it stays healthy.
Yeah,
and
continue.
Say it again.
No, I didn't say anything. Continue.
Oh, okay. Heliolisk is his fastest with 109, but he does have Mienshao with the 105 and Victini at 100. So it would be nice if he could get another above 110. I mean, one with above 110, but he does have some rounds to do that. And he does have a pick left.
Yeah. Drake, are you back? Drake? Hello? Oh, he disconnected again. Rip. Okay, well, if he can get it working, then Gaksar can drag him up. So next we have that team is, before I move on, that team is very interesting. I don't know how he can do it, but his team is it's just very annoying to deal with. It's not, nothing alone strikes you as scary, but his team is just so, it doesn't want, like, he pretty much, it doesn't want to die. He pretty much has a switch in for everything. Like, he has...
Yeah, and then
Continue.
his 3 fastest get U-turn or volt switch. So they're not going to be staying in anyways.
Yeah, and those are his 3 frail mons, so...
Sorry,
Mhm.
I'm having trouble with...
I don't know why Siri just activated. I apologize. I don't even know what happened. She just activated on her own. That was weird. Anyways, next we have Jack of the Las Vegas Larvatars, and he ended up drafting Latios, Volcarona, Suicune, Donphan, Florges, and Megalopony. Thoughts on Jack's team?
It's good. It's really good because Donphan and Skarmory can cover the Stealth Rock's weakness that Volcarona has, and then it's pretty fast too because Mega Lopunny tops out at 135, and Latios is at 110, and Volcarona is at 100. So, and then he has a special defense tank and a defense tank that he can switch back and forth with. See what else to say. Latios just can do so many different things. Volcarona can set up in your face and sweep. And Suicune's just so annoying to deal with. Just like Vaporeon, Melodic, Mantine, all those bulky waters. And just Mega Lopunny just hits so hard. And the Scrappy just makes it so much worse. Because you think you're safe if you're a Ghost type, but really you're not. Because Scrappy fake out into high jump kick. It will kill things. And it gets power up punch too. Just if you switch out, I mean, it gets power up punch and then start sweeping from there.
Yeah, like the only thing I think there are very few ghost types that like want to take anything. I think really the only kind of ghost types that are safe are things like Dhelmise, or semi-safe are things like Dhelmise or freaking Cofagrigus or Dusclops.
Yeah.
I know they're in lower tiers, but they have the defense to live. On top of that, unless, especially in Dhelmise's case, unless Mega Lopunny is going to run Ice Punch, which I know is fairly common. You know, Mega Lopunny can hit you hard, but especially, like I said, Trick Room's up, it's not going to matter because you outspeed.
And then it would be very scummy if he got Cofagrigus just to make sure no one else could get him, because Cofagrigus just walls it, because once it hits it, then it loses Scrappy. So after that, then it has to immediately switch out. But I mean, even with the 145 defense it has, along with a pretty decent... No, it doesn't have a good HP stat. It doesn't want to take that many hits.
Yeah. Alright, Drake, are you here? Are you alright? I can't hear you if you're good. Okay. I guess for some reason. Maybe you're on push to talk for some reason. But I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna move on to LucarioNite's team, the Miami Infernapes, and he ended up scooping Kartana, Mimikyu, Blissey, Crocodile, Dragouge, and Mega Pidgeot. Now, he missed his last two picks. His last two picks in order were Mega Pidgeot, Dragouge. So, he does have Dragon Fairy Steel Core.
Yeah. Pretty early. Does he have... No, he does not have his 5-1 pass yet. I feel I'm just kind of confused on it. For some reason, because like the Blissey is just so... It just looks kind of out of place to me, even though like I know Blissey's amazing and everything, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Even to me, I feel like the Thundurus is kind of out of place. Even though it is an electric type, but still. But I mean, I think Kartana Mimikyu is a deceptively disgusting core. Like, deceptively, you may not, like, especially with this team composition, you may not think it's that big of a threat, but I think it's a bigger threat than you might think it would be.
Yeah, and then Dragalge is pretty underrated. I think personally, just because Choice Spec's adaptability just does so much damage, and it's just kind of a shame that you don't see it picked up in too often in League format.
I can tell you this much. There was a Ferrothorn on the field, and Choice Spec's adaptability Dragalge 3-shot the Ferrothorn with Thunderbolt. Like, like, hello? Like, in it almost 2-shot with Dragon Pulse, which is also resisted. Like, I know you get the adaptability boost on that, but Dragalge is not something to sleep on. The one thing that is worth noting is that there is a team later on that has Mold Breaker. If he doesn't want... So, Mold Breaker goes through Mimikyu's disguise.
Yeah.
So, if he doesn't want to lose that Mimikyu, because Mold Breaker Haxorus or Mold Breaker... Pretty much any Mold Breaker mon can one-shot Mimikyu through that.
Yeah.
Through that disguise.
Yeah.
So Mimikyu doesn't want to take that. If he wants to come into Dragalge, they could just predict and go for Earthquake, and Dragalge is literally gone.
Yeah, because it's pretty frail defensively.
Yeah, it has good special defense, but
Yeah, its defense. It's pretty bad. But I will say that as well, that it would be nice if he had like a more defensive wall along to like go along with the Blissey. Because I know Crook gets Intimidate, but overall Crook's not going to be taking many hits in Kartana. Not many things will want to take hits because some Thundurus and Mega Pidgeot are pretty frail.
Kartana does have decent physical defense, but it's not gonna live an Earthquake from something like Haxorus or
It wouldn't even live like an HP Fire from Haxorus.
I don't think so, and Haxorus has pretty poor special defense.
Yeah.
Or special attack. Drake, are you here? Are you good now? No, he's not. Let me pull him up again. Are you working now?
1, 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Yes, there we go.
Thank God.
Technical issues. Guess what? You're just in time for your team. Drake, please tell us about your team and tell us the order that you drafted these Pokemon in.
Okay, let me pull up Google Sheets real fast. I picked up Greninja, Protean. I picked up Azoth. It's like the order down, I believe.
Amoonguss was definitely before Azelf because it's ahead of Azelf.
Yeah. Alright, here. It was Greninja, Protean, Amoonguss, Azoth, Rotom Heat, Nihilego, and Arceops. Well, however you say that.
Archeops.
Archeops. I guess the main reason why I picked out most of these Mons, I like Rotom Heat. Never got too drafted for until now. I like it as Scoff. Thunderbolt, I like Azoth just because you have to predict what I'm going to bring. Am I going to bring physical? I'm bringing special. Am I bringing Taunt? Am I bringing Stealth Rocks? Greninja, Protean, it's just I want to say a well-balanced thing for what team I want to make overall. I still need to pick up my Fairy. And don't worry about that. I got the Fairy in my mind right now, and I think no one will pick that.
And that's fair. It's definitely an interesting team. I
It's probably the unrated team because Alkalogs and all these ones.
That's fair. Um, I don't know. What do you have anything to add to that, Andrew?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty. It's fast. It has 4 with 100. Well, no, 5. I'm sorry. With 100 or above. I mean, Amoongus is his main like wall, I guess.
I mean, Rotom
It
Heat
would be
is
nice.
not anything to slouch on either.
Yeah, it's just he will just like it probably will run more defensive, honestly, because Nihilego has such a high special defense. And then Rotom Heat, of course, has 107 in both, so it's pretty tanky as well, and can be annoying. Archeops, it has the worst ability.
Oh,
If you can just keep it above 50 for just like a little bit, it can do some
Yeah.
major damage.
Yeah.
It's head smash.
Brave Bird, I believe, as well.
Yeah. So like a choice banded head smash would do significant amounts of damage, except for it'd probably run itself into the ground. But not before it probably gets 1.5, 2 kills.
Yeah,
So,
Archeops is definitely a mon you have to revenge kill with.
Yep.
One thing to say, every Rotom, you gotta be wary of Choice Scarf Trick.
yep.
I am a big fan of Choice Scarf Trick on pretty much every single Rotom.
I've been victim to that so many times.
It is not fun, cause then you think you're good. Nope, locked into a move with a mon that might need,
Yeah.
extra stuff, like Rotom Heat, Choice Scarf Trick into a Weavile. Weavile's done. Like, there's nothing you could do because you're most certainly running Jolly on Weavile.
Yeah.
So that is something to keep in mind. Next we have Pokecrafter of the Wyndham Wishy-Washies. His Pokemon that he chose were Celesteela, Clefable, Xurkitree, Starmie, Chestnut, and Moltres. It is worth noting that he does have a double Beast Boost core.
Yes. The thing that I like is that his weakness is what mon he has. He has Zygarde. If he didn't have Zygarde, I mean, there's still 10% around, I think, and Thousand Ways will kind of demolish his team in somewhat. But I do like it because those two Ultra Beasts are the ones that could have killed Zygarde.
Yeah, but that is one thing to keep in mind. Nothing on his team really appreciates a thousand arrows. So I mean arrows, but yeah, but I mean he does have it. It is undrafted at the moment. Could still be drafted possibly by someone in the future. So that is worth noting.
The most spammable move in the game.
Pretty much. I am a big fan of late game sweeping with banded 1,000 arrows Zygarde 10%. I am a big fan of that. It is very frail, but it doesn't matter if you get rid of what you are certain are Scarfers, as well as pretty much any ice type.
Yeah, and then he does have 2 Pokemon that just snowball. Celesteela and Xurkitree.
Not to mention... Continue.
Yeah, and it's 50, of course, with Coil or Dragon Dance.
Not to mention Clefable has Coal Mine, Starmie has Shell Smash, Chestnut has Bulk Up and Swords Dance, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, So there could be a lot of setup in this team that I could see happening. Starmie does get rapid spin, so Moltres could be safe, but it's not the most reliable rapid spinner, I don't think.
Starmie does run it from time to time, but it's not very common.
No.
The typical set, I believe, is Ice Beam, Psychic, Scald, and Shell Smash. I think it's the most common set. But I'm not entirely sure. I haven't used Starmie in a long time. It's another Pokemon that I've really wanted to use in League, but it's never really fit in my draft plans.
Yeah, and that Celesteal and Clefable. Oh.
That Clefable alone. You want to set up? Nah, Clefable. Hi, how you doing? You want to bring a Steel type? Flamethrower. It's so annoying. I hate Clefable so much. It and Chansey, those are my two least favorite Pokemon to face in draft format. But next we have Lord Luxray of the Pittsburgh Empoleons, and he drafted Tapu Fini, Nidoqueen, Haxorus, like I said before, Mold Breaker, Bronzong, Swallow, and Mega Gallade.
This team. This team though, who let him drop for these? All out of all these mons, this is like the second scariest team to me. Just a well dimensional team. Like it's kind of unique to me what mons you pick, and he reason. I think it's pretty cool that he has a bulk, like a really high bulk mon. This type of thing. Like there's
let me just tell you about Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini single-handedly carried me through 3 games in Luxray's League, the PBA, last season. I had Tapu Fini, and Tapu Fini was undefeated in Salamaster's League, and had zero deaths and was leading every single category. So let me tell you, Tapu Fini is a threat. People sleep on it. You can run the same set every week and it's not gonna matter. Tapu Fini is that good.
Yeah, Tapu Fini is really good. It gets Calm Mind. It doesn't have to worry about Toxic. It could clash with like the Guts Flame Orb Swallow set, but that probably won't happen too often since let's see.
Yeah, it's interesting to note his team isn't really super prone to Trick Room. The reason I keep bringing Trick Room is because I haven't used it on my channel before, but I am a real big fan of Trick Room sets, and Bronzong does get that Trick Room. His team isn't as prone to something like that as my team or maybe Shaq's team would be, which you'll see later.
Yeah, and Nidoqueen could run in Trick Room
really
effectively.
It could, but it is base 80, so that is something to note. It would get outsped by things that would most certainly kill it, like for instance my Delmise. Nidoqueen is not gonna live a Shadow Claw from a Delmise.
Let's see. And Bronzong could just reset it if it's that big of an issue too.
Yeah, and like I said, it does clash with the Swallow, it clashes with the Gallade, clashes with the Weavile, so... But it is possible...
Haxorus just Dragon Dances and just sweeps from there.
Or Z Dragon Dance gone. Like, it only needs 1 speed boost, and Z Dragon Dance gives it 2. Like, he's got the second highest base attack stat that is not an Ultra Beast or a Legendary.
Same.
Yeah, and the Mega Gallade can just Sword Dance and start sweeping as well.
Not to mention he gets Fake Out
Yeah.
and Sucker Punch.
And Stylish Sneak. Like, probably
And it gets
is.
recovery with Drain Punch.
Yes, it does.
Very good.
So his team I think is deceptively scary. I definitely don't necessarily agree with the Swellow and the Bronzong, but I can definitely see why he picked them. So next, the final. Go ahead, Drake. I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he does have an OU pick in his pocket.
Yes, he does, and there are some coaches, including yours truly. So the final team we have is Shaq of the Toronto Tyrantrums. He has Marshadow. Keep in mind, Marshadow cannot use Spectral Thief or its Z move, the 7 S's. That's what I call it because it's literally 7 S's. And then we have Diggersby, Raikou, Darmanitan, Umbreon, and Snorlax. I don't know why there's this little graphical glitch on his thing. I have no idea how to fix that. I apologize. But like I said, Gak picked up the Diggersby to trade to Shaq for the Garchomp. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I forgot. I was wondering why you didn't franchise pick.
The biggest problem with Marshadow is that it's so versatile and it's so fast.
Just its stab is unresisted, which is just insane.
It's I think the only thing that would be safe is a normal psychic type. So if someone wants to draft Meloetta, there you go.
I can draft Luxray.
The problem with Meloetta is that it's paper frail. On the physical side, unless you want to run Relic Song, in which case there you go. But Marshadow is immune to Relic Song, so
it doesn't get hit by Relic Song.
But it is, but what you could do. It's very hard. It's very hard to get around. Marshadow is hard, but you're not. It's not a mon that when it comes in, you're gonna do anything. Like what you want to do is predict the Marshadow coming in and double swap.
Yeah. Because it gets bulk up. I'm not sure if it gets Sword Stance, but
no.
It can set up as well. And then he has a very fast team. Like you said, is prone to Trick Room, but he does have Snorlax who's fine with Trick Room and just can start setting up Curse, and then
as well as Umbreon and Diggersby both would counter the Trick Room because Umbreon gets Curse, Snorlax gets Curse, and Diggersby is just a slow mon with huge power.
You can run it right to underspeed a lot of mons, or basically in Trick Room outspeed a lot of mons.
Yeah, so overall,
like questionable. Yeah.
Overall, let's move on. What do you think? Each of you, please list what you think an underrated team is. Going through the list.
Well, during the stream, I'm not really sure if many people talked about his team, but I think Jack's team is. I'm not sure. I wasn't watching the stream, but from what I heard, I don't think many people were talking about his team. But with the Volcarona, the Latios, and the Mega Lopunny, all those just hit so hard. And he has Florges and Skarmory defensively, who they're just both really good as well, and they both get recovery. So I feel you should definitely not sleep on that team.
Yeah, Drake, give a underrated team.
I think when we were doing it, I think it was the Oakland Rosalites.
Yep.
I think I think we need to talk about, and like, to me, I don't think it's really underrated. I just think they have a lot of options for them. They have a bunch of options for the do,
All right,
and
all right.
as a future.
Personally, I'm gonna bring in some bias. I know this is a little selfish, but I do think that out of all these teams, there are some big threats. But I do think that mine is one of the most underrated teams. Like all I pretty much need is a trick room, and most teams are literally gimped by that.
Yeah, I your team is just so scary. Like honestly, I'm very intimidated by it. Uh, that's why I didn't choose yours as underrated because I personally didn't.
And
When I personally looked at your team, I wasn't like, oh, that's reasonable.
I mean that's fair. So the next thing, what do you think is going to be the probably maybe the hardest for you personally as a coach, or maybe just the hardest in general, or just a face you're not looking or face a team you're not looking forward to facing at all?
Drake, you go first.
This please. Sure. Um, well, I think it's probably either Shaq or Lux. I mean, it's how their standpoint is, because I'm kind of intimidated by that Tapu Fini just a little bit.
As you should be.
Yeah. I don't like Mega Delay unless is it just because of that somewhat wide loophole, because it gets all the land punches, it gets Fake Out, Shadow Sneak, Swords Dance. It's Defiant Boost. Knock that off, nah, you're done. I don't like more Shadow in it, like for Sack. Just gets Technician Boost, Hidden Power, boost that up. I don't like Raikou because Raikou can get Aura Spill, but the default for that is you have to run a Rash Neutral.
Yeah. Andrew?
I would probably say yours because I've had bad history with Magirna and Landorus Syrian. I've been hacked out by Magirna by paralysis so many times. And just like I've been hexed out by like 3 or 4 times I've lost games because it was carrying Thunderwave and I got paralyzed 4 turns in a row. And then its setup options are ridiculous. It can just run through you so quickly.
Not to mention if you get rid of any steel or any fire type, like, then you can just go into Farium Z Magirna. Guess what? I'm boosted now. After the next Soul Heart, or after the next Floor Cannon, you're back at neutral.
Yeah, so it's just scary mon.
Yeah, I think for me personally, as of right now, I'm not entirely sure. I'm generally thinking that the team that I really just don't. I mean, obviously there's Shaq. I really think that Sky's team is really hard to get around. I really do. I don't.
LucarioNite cool.
I don't know. I think that triple regenerator core with the Alamola, with the wish passing and the Heliolisk and the Alamola and the Gudra to absorb fire type hits, and the Mega Aggron is just there to just eat hits for days, like, and he can just Alamola, wish, baton pass back into Mega Aggron, and it's just so, to me, disgustingly just balanced.
That is true.
Like, that triple regenerated core is disgusting. Mian Shao takes damage, U-turn. Like, oh my god. It's so disgusting. Anyways, the last one before we wrap this up is, what do you think is an overrated team? I know this one is going to be the hardest to do, like I said, because there is, but you know, we only have a little bit over half of the Pokemon picked, but, and as well, you know, to be fair, these are all some pretty solid teams, but what do you think out of all the teams you'll have the least amount of trouble with? And this one will be fun. I think personally, his team is deceptively bulky, but just in my personal, and deceptively hard to play around. Just in my personal experience, I think that I'll be fine against Dalton. His team is definitely not a slouch.
Which one is? I'm sorry.
Buffalo. His team, as of right now, doesn't really have anything other than the Infernape and the Altaria that really strikes me as a threat personally. Like I said, for his team, I know the Toxapex can use it, and I know the Metagross can use it. The Cresselia can kind of use it, and the Araquanid can use it. But if I set up Trick Room, as of right now, there's kind of nothing Dalton can do. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't think it's gonna be that difficult. Like, the Toxapex is not gonna live in Earthquake at all from Landorus Therian. Same with Metagross. Same with Gengar. I mean, Gengar, yeah, you're gonna have Sash, but I'm not gonna stay in against the Gengar. Well, if I'm Scarfed, I will. But, like, I don't know. Landorus Therian, I think, single-handedly gimps most of his picks so far.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, if it's for me, I think it's Lucasis. Just because his core, like, for now, is Sand. If you prevent his Sand and kill his Sand, he basically has nothing. Yes, you have switch-ins. If he sets up with Tapu Bulu, he switches out to a flamethrower. What if someone already predicts that? Goes for a different move, kills the what's it called?
The Chandelure.
Chandelure, yeah. You basically have no other switches. I mean, yes, you have Keldeo, but a Side Strike or a Psychic won't really do anything. Yes, he has Tito, just Moonblast.
And it's
Moonblast Keldeo.
And that I want to piggyback you on that, and I'm just gonna say, like, the Tapu Bulu, if he brings the Chandelure and the Tapu Bulu, I can lead with Volcanion. Tapu Bulu is literally not gonna want to stay in. I can predict that Steam Eruption Chandelure is gone.
There you go. I mean, that's not, like, his team doesn't really scare me, because overall, if you get rid of Chandelure and Keldeo, Flamethrower it, and other moves will kill it. Like, legitimately will kill it. Like, Garchomp only is good in the sand. Is only good. I mean, yeah, people don't render with sand. But I see it, like, it's really obvious that it won't be max special defense. A Moonblast will kill for either one. I mean, yes, it's the sand that helps it, but really, a true specs from any, like, Pheromone is something really going to live from that.
And that's something to keep in mind. I also have Gardevoir. I'm pretty sure Gardevoir, maybe not T-Tar if it's assault. If T-Tar is assault vested, then not the T-Tar, but it definitely kills the Mega Garchomp in the sand, even with the special defense buff.
And if you could run Sky Strike and kill the Chandelure.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, hit the power fire for that Tapu Bulu and Sizzle, and Galvantula kills.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Andrew, what is your team that you think you're gonna have the least amount of trouble with?
I don't know. I don't really have a ground type, so I would say what the Buffalo Bastiodons, but I don't really have a ground type that could put in a lot of work as of right now. I'm probably gonna have to go with Storm and the Oakland Roserades, just because I feel like Terrakion could put in a lot of solid work against this team because of his dual stab. And Tapu Koko could as well, even though Scolipede is just super scary. But I don't know. Like, everyone has like an element that is intimidating about their team. So for me, it's hard to pick one where I'm like, oh, to like kind of like brush it off.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from because for every single Pokemon that he has, your Terrakion does hit super effectively. It is worth noting that a lot of things do outspeed and do hit you super effectively back, but if you predict the swap on the Alolan Ninetales, goodbye, Ninetales. It's not going to live a Stone Edge.
Yeah.
And then the Excadrill, if you predict a swap on the Excadrill, close combat, Excadrill's gone. Predict a swap on the Cloyster. I'm pretty sure Cloyster might live a close combat because it's pretty physically bulky. Kecleon isn't gonna live. Right. Kecleon won't live a close combat. Charizard won't live a Rock Slide even. Scolipede won't live a Rock Slide. Dragonite will live a Rock Slide because of Multiscale, but after that, what's it gonna do? Earthquake, yeah, but you're bulky, so.
I mean, you could always short his multi-step with Stealth Rocks or something like that.
Yeah, you could set up Stealth Rocks early and try to force a swap. As of right now, he doesn't really have anything that really wants to take on Terrakion, other than the Excadrill and the Ninetales if he can get a clean swap, or the Cloyster if he can get a clean swap. Yeah, that's about it. So, all in all, what do you think your guys' what is your, maybe not the strongest team? I mean, don't pick the strongest team, because we've already talked about that. The last question is, what do you think, what personally is your favorite team that's been drafted so far? I mean, I'll start. I think my favorite team that's been drafted so far is, in fact, Xavier's. I do like the Fire and Ice possibilities, because all he really needs to like, he could get Beartic in the or Alolan Ninetales, and the Hail is a threat. The Sun, he could get like Shiftry, and I'm pretty sure he might be planning Shiftry, and Shiftry, let me tell you, Shiftry can deceptively put in a lot of work. So I think I might have an idea where Xavier is going with tomorrow. So that's why he is my favorite team that's been drafted so far.
I think one of my favorite teams is Miami Knights. Just because most of the Mons, except for Blissey, hits like a truck. Like Katana, Mimikyu, Crocodile, whoever the other Mon is, Mega Pidgeot, and Thunderous, just hits like a truck.
Yeah, Dragouch. Like you weren't here to say, but let me just say that there is a certain league match that I had to replace Xavier with once, because he was going to be away for a week. So I replaced him in a league match, and he had Dragouch on his team. I ended up spexing Dragouch, and the opposing coach, basically all he had left either was neutrally hit or resisted what I was locked into. At one point I got myself locked into Dragon Pulse, and that did about 50% on the Ferrothorn that he had, and then I ended up closing out with Drag Ouch because I had to swap out because he had a fairy type. And even though I'm, it was a fairy psychic, I'm pretty sure it was like a Mega Gardevoir, like, and I'm spexed. No, there's no way I'm living anything from a Mega Gardevoir. So I was forced to swap out, and then I ended up, he had a water type, I ended up locking myself into Thunderbolt, and Thunderbolt, unfortunately he got a crit and knocked it out because it was low health, but I would have 3-shotted the Ferrothorn with a Thunderbolt.
Dang.
So, yeah.
That's pretty much it. The only thing that he has to really worry about is how he's going to play around with like a Mewtwo. Because we already have a Mold Break Goal, attack service. Can kill Mimikyu most likely with the Iron Tail if they go around it. So that's the only thing you have to worry about.
I don't even think he needs to run Iron Tail. I think he can just run Poison Jab. Mimikyu's gone.
It hits it neutrally though. That's the only reason.
I mean, it's still neutral. Like, there's Earthquake, but yeah. Andrew?
I'd probably go with the Wyndham Wishy-Washies, because I just really like what Zygarde 50 can do to a team. It can coil, it can Dragon Dance, it can set up and it'll start sweeping. And then the Celesteela Clefable is just really, really nice. And then Celesteela can set up on its own too. And it gets deep, like, it can run mixed. I've seen it run mixed before. And then Xurkitree Z Hypnosis, if it hits, it can get scary. So I just think it'd be like a lot of fun to play with, I guess, because you just have so many options that you could do.
Yeah, I think the thing that's scariest is that other than the Moltres, literally everything on his team so far can set up in one way or another.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, if you have Haze on any of your mons,
well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that at least someone said that they were scared of my team, because I do think that, I mean, there's all these other like crazy teams, but dude, I am personally proud of my draft, and I know you guys are as well.
yeah.
And it always makes you feel good when people say they're scared of you.
Yeah.
Like personally, Andrew, I do not want to face you at all, my dude. I do not.
I don't either. Just because it's a Valley, no thank you.
That Valley is so hard to prep for.
At least it's not like
yeah.
And I know that you love your Shaman and use it very well, so that's another thing to keep in mind.
I do like Shaman a lot.
But
I
yeah.
don't think I'll get Weezing this one, but
I mean, someone in this group might be trying to draft a Mold Breaker Pokemon in the future. Because as of right now, I don't really have anything that really wants to fight Mimikyu with Z-Splash. Like, the Magearna, even if I run defensive, like, okay, if I run defensive Magearna, he just Shadow Claws me once and I'm pretty sure I die.
Yeah,
so since yeah, doesn't look too good in the team.
yeah, I think I could get swept by Mimikyu pretty easily, because right now my team is kind of leaning more hyper offense in it, because there's not really much bulk besides the natural bulk from Kyurem Black and Mega Blastoise, and Savali has some decent bulk, and so does Shaman, but Coco's frail. Tornadus Syrian is pretty frail. Terrakions Frail. Shaman, if you hit it super effectively.
It's pretty much gone.
Yeah, and especially if it gets like a Z Splash and Mimikyu, I'm just basically done for at that point.
Yeah, and I think my team isn't in too much of a different state. Like Magearna, obviously, Steel Fairy, the best defensive and offensive combination. Like it's the best hybrid of types. And it does have good defenses, and Volcanion is pretty bulky. Hydreigon is deceptively specially bulky. Dhelmise is deceptively physically bulky. Gardevoir is deceptively specially bulky. Mega Pinsir is deceptively physically bulky. If it's not a super effective hit, then Mega Pinsir pretty much lives it on the physical side. And Landorus Therian is hyper frail. So, I mean, I do have bulk, but it's more like hyper offensive bulk. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't normally try to draft bulk. It's just not the way I play. I mean, apparently in PBA I drafted hyper special defense bulk because I'm the only person with with an average special defense stat over 100.
Yeah, my PBA team is, I think mid-draft looked a lot more bulky than this one does.
Yeah.
My PBA draft is sort of bulky.
But anyways, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Drake. I know we had some technical issues on your side, Drake, and that sucks.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for your insight. I definitely want to leave this with as little bias as possible. I know that I did say I thought my team was underrated, but that's only because people weren't talking about it during the draft. If you watch the draft or watch it back, so
yeah.
Thank you guys for taking time out of your day, and
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Same.
And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Well, it'll probably be the same day by the time this gets uploaded to YouTube because, yeah. But thank you guys, and this is Major out. Goodbye.